What is going on, you guys? So today I don't have too much to do, but I do want to get the Cobra clean because it hasn't been cleaned in a while, since before the clutch went out, or when the clutch was broken I cleaned it, but then it got all dirty. So I'm gonna clean the Cobra today. I also want to fit the drag wheels on it, make sure they fit. I think I'm gonna leave them on the car. I'm trying to go to the track Wednesday, which I don't know when you guys will see this video, but I'm trying to go in 2 days. I do need to install an adjustable cable clutch to get the clutch exactly where I want it for the racing. So I do have a few things to do. I want to make sure those drag wheels fit the car. I'm going to use Ashley's fronts because I haven't gotten front tires yet. So I'm gonna put those on. I also need to do a transmission fluid flush. When we put the clutch in, it was later at night, so we just used some general transmission fluid. It's still Dextron 3, which is what this calls for, but I prefer to use Mole 1 synthetic or I think it's Pennzoil Synchro Mesh, which is supposed to be really good in these. So I'm very picky, but it wasn't a bad thing because when we flushed the fluid out of this, it was pretty black. So by us putting some cheaper transmission fluid, let it run through for the break-in period, it's also going to, you know, basically clean that transmission out and then put some nice fresh fluid in it. So what I'm gonna do now is get the car pulled out, get it ready, and I'm gonna wash it off. Alright, so I got the car clean. I'm gonna let it air dry for a little bit, then pull it into the garage. I'm gonna try to clean this thing up a little bit. I don't know how well it'll clean up, but we'll give it a try. Alright, so I just washed this car. This one's still kind of drying up a bit. I'll wipe it down. Honestly, it doesn't look any better really, besides I cleaned the wheels. I mean, the wheels will always look fairly decent on this car, but the paint just, I don't know. And there was a few people saying you can get this paint to come back, but it's just such a bad job. Like, it just needs to be painted. Here's another area. The paint is just such a bad job that it's not even worth really putting some time into trying to fix it up with some wet sanding or anything like that. Alright, so I have my JMS drag wheels here. These are the 15s or the 28 by 10.5 by 15 bias ply Mickey Thompson. And then I have two fronts. These are from Ashley's car. As you can see, these are black chrome finish. These are the diamond cut finish. I'm just gonna use these because they're the same for the front. And I don't have fronts for mine, which are up in that box there. So first thing I'm gonna try to do is try the fronts on to make sure they fit. These are pretty tall, but I don't see why a 28-inch front won't fit this. To be honest, I don't know if that's gonna fit. It's sticking out pretty wide. I'm gonna check to see if these are the same as the ones I have in the box up there. I could have sworn the fronts for the S550 and these are the same. So I just checked, and this is the one that I have for the Cobra, and these are actually the exact same spacing, 17 by 4.5 front. So I'll just have to see if that fits. It could be the tire. I mean, the tire is tall, what I mean by that. I might need to run a smaller tire, or I might need to raise the car up, which I don't have coilovers on this, so that'll make that difficult. Alright, well, it looks like that's fit in there nice. I'm gonna need to roll this back, make sure that is not grinding anything. It shouldn't. We took off quite a bit when we used Nick's Race Stars. These actually cambered in, which is normal. And it looks like that's fitting in there fairly well. I might have some slight rub if I were to take this on the highway, but other than that, it looks good. Alright, I think I'm in love. I mean, I like my regular wheels, but this looks So mean. Oh, I'm gonna do the other side now. Looks like we'll be good to go. Like I said, a slight rub up front, but then again, my 275s sit pretty close to the fender too. So I guess we'll see how the front goes. When I get my tires for the front, I'm probably gonna go with something a little bit shorter, but I guess we'll see how these work out. All right, so I'm gonna take it for a drive around, make sure everything's good, make sure the wheels aren't scraping, make sure the front rub isn't too bad. I don't think it will be because my 275s do sit pretty close to the fender normally. So let's go take it for a drive. Well, I'm glad that I went ahead and checked to make sure these fit, because they don't fit. Or basically we just need to do more grinding. Fronts seem to be fine. I'm just gonna jack it up, take these off and see where it's hitting the wheel and then assess it further. Well, it would appear that I need to do quite a bit more grinding. Boo. Alright guys, so it is now the next day. I'm gonna go take a trip over to Harbor Freight and pick up a grinder. Hopefully I can grind these down and get them basically so that I can put the 15-inch wheels on the car without rubbing that IRS knuckle. I don't like the fact that I'm basically scraping most of this off, but I don't really have much other option. This side looks like it only needs a little bit more to be scraped away. So basically I'm gonna try to get that one side. If that works, then we'll do the other side too. I just basically left the car kind of jacked up like this. Don't worry, I got jack stands under there for all you naysayers. So we're gonna hop in Ashley's car. The clutch still isn't broken in on this yet, but we're just basically putting miles on it, getting it broken in. So we got our $30 angle grinder from Harbor Freight, got a few spare wheels, got a free screwdriver, because you guys always know you gotta go to Harbor Freight with your coupons. And yeah, let's go home and get cutting. Alright, so what we're gonna need to be grinding is the IRS knuckle. As you can see on this side, it's hard for you guys to really get a gauge for how deep that is, but this is not very deep at all. So we only need to shave off a little bit more on there. Ignore the rust, obviously, because I washed the car yesterday. Rust on rotors, you guys know how that goes. Remember kids, safety first. Alright. It works. Alright, so I just shaved a bit more off the knuckle. That thing looks like it's clearing. I'm going to move this pin inward, a little bend inward, that way it's not anywhere near that. And then I'm going to shave the tie rod end right here just a little bit more. Alright, so after going back and forth, grinding and checking and grinding and checking, looks like this side fits, so now I'm going to replicate the other side. When I let it down, I'm going to make sure that this one doesn't. I put a piece of paper between, the clearance is very, very, very close. I put a piece of paper that makes it so that I can actually see the difference, and from what I can see is it's not hitting anything with the paper because I can slide it right through. So now I'm going to try the other side and get it grinded down so that I can fit both of these on here. Alright, and I have finally done it. Spin these around. No grinding. That was a lot more work than I thought it would be. So we're good. It's raining out. The car was just cleaned yesterday, so I don't think I'm gonna drive it around. Try to go forward and backwards once there's some weight on it, make sure everything's still okay. And then this part of track prep will be a-okay. Alright, well, the car is on the ground. I have not rolled it forward or back. There's not really very much room in the garage, and it is raining outside. Sprinklers are also on. I hate those things, trying to get those things right. But anyways, I'm gonna wait for it to dry up and take it around the block and make sure we don't have any grinding when there's some weight on it. In theory, the wheel really shouldn't flex, although those clearances are very, very close. So I wanna make sure that's good before taking it further than around here. Well, it would appear that I have some bad news. The fronts do not work. 28-inch tall is way too tall. I just drove it basically around the driveway here. Of course the light would shut off. I just drove it around here, backed it out and drove, and this is literally on the fender the whole entire time. So obviously if I drive to the track, I will end up hurting my fender. So it looks like I'm gonna need a different set of fronts. Obviously I have a different set of wheels. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it to the track tomorrow, because that's not gonna work. So I need to borrow someone's fronts. Yeah.